Okay, I see the live stream is up, just confirming. It looks like we're in gallery mode.
Sorry, give me 1 second. I switched it over.
Okay. At this time, will sergeants please start their recordings?
Computer recording started.
Thank you.
Cloud recorder has started.
Thank you, and good morning, and welcome to today's remote New York City Council hearing of the Committee on Finance. At this time, would all council members and staff please turn on their video? To minimize disruption, please place electronic devices on vibrate or silent mode. Thank you for your cooperation. We are ready to begin.
Thank you, Sergeant. Good morning and welcome to today's Finance Committee meeting. My name is Councilmember Justin Brannan, and I'm Chair of the Finance Committee. Today we have 4 items on the agenda: an Article 11 property tax exemption, 2 budget modifications, and a transparency resolution. We'll begin with the land use item, which is 788 Fox Street, a 5-story building with 52 units located in the Longwood section of the South Bronx in Deputy Speaker Ayala's district. The project closed on a construction loan in 2017 under the HUD multifamily program and a RAD conversion. The scope of work was a moderate rehab of the building as well as upgrades to apartment interiors. The current Article 11 is expiring in 2034, and the sponsor is seeking a new 30-year Article 11 to match the loan term and a new HPD regulatory agreement. At 788 Fox Street, there are 52 units and all are currently rent stabilized, with AMIs ranging from 50% to 80%. Deputy Speaker Ayala is supportive of the project. Malcolm, is she here?
But she's not going to be making remarks, so we can, I think that's stated she may, so we can just continue.
Okay, so next we'll turn to the transparency resolution number 13. This resolution approves the new designation and the changes in the designation of certain organizations receiving local discretionary funding and funding for certain initiatives in accordance with the FY22 expense budget, and approves new designation and the change in designation of certain organizations funding for initiatives in accordance with the FY21 expense budget. As with all transparency resolutions, council members will have to sign a disclosure form indicating whether or not a conflict exists with any of the groups on the attached list. This disclosure form and accompanying instructions were emailed to all members last night by the Finance Division. If any council member has a potential conflict of interest with any of the organizations listed, they have the opportunity to disclose the conflict at the time of their vote. As a reminder, please disclose any conflicts you may have with the proposed subcontractors used by organizations sponsored by discretionary funding. These disclosures must be made before any subcontractor can be approved. Disclosure forms must be completed and submitted prior to the vote on the transparency resolution later today, and it may be emailed to Julius Caranda in the General Counsel's office. We now have 2 budget modifications. The first, a revenue budget mod, seeks to appropriate new city revenues in FY22 in the amount of $1.36 billion. The $1.36 billion of new revenues combined with an adjustment to the general reserve will be used to prepay $1.54 billion of FY23 expenses in FY22. The second, an expense budget mod, represents proposed movements of city funds within and among city agencies in FY22 to implement changes in the city's expense budget, but leaves the overall level of city funds unchanged. Do we have any questions from committee members on today's items?
Yes, Councilmember Barron, you should be able to unmute yourself, sir.
Thank you very much. I want my colleagues to be aware and make sure you read through that money transfer and interagency transfers, because in that there's 100 million taken from community colleges, and there's another about 100 some odd million taken from the police department. But if you look at the second page, it says to. It'll first say from, then it says to. He's adding another 300 million to the police department. But when you look at from, it adds up to about 100 million taken from the police department. So this is going to be an increase internally to the police department. Money's being taken away from health, from education, from CUNY. Just look where it says from, and then if you add up those numbers and look where it says to, the two numbers are less than many of the from numbers. And this is something that happens in budgets all the time. When you look at something like that, unless we carefully analyze that, I think we should vote no on that. That is, that transfer of money is going to benefit the police department. Some of it will be taken from education, health, Medicare, all kinds of stuff. So that'll be a no vote for me.
Okay, do we have anyone else with questions or comments?
I don't see any hands raised, Chair.
Okay, with that, I will now ask Billy Martin, the committee clerk, to call the roll.
Morning, Lee Martin, Committee Clerk, roll call vote, Committee on Finance. All items are coupled. Chair Brennan.
I vote aye.
Thank you. Ayala.
Aye.
Thank you. Moya.
I vote aye.
Thank you. Powers. Councilmember Powers. Okay, we'll come back to Councilmember Powers. Councilmember Lewis.
I vote aye.
Thank you. Brooks Powers.
I don't know.
Thank you. Barron.
I vote no on it. Is it M5? Mr. Chair? The transfer money is M5?
Just one
Yes.
second.
Malcolm,
think-
yes, right? M5?
Give me 1 second. Yes, it's M5.
Yes, I'm voting no on that and aye on all the rest.
Thank you.
Thank you. Brewer.
I vote aye. I respect Charles, but we'll fight in the current budget. I appreciate his comments, however, but I vote aye.
Thank you. Farias.
I vote aye.
Thank you. Hanks.
I vote aye.
Thank you. Hudson.
Aye.
Thank you. Hagan.
I vote aye.
Thank you. Osei.
So that is it for my.
I vote aye.
Thank you. Sanchez.
Aye.
Thank you. Velasquez.
I don't know.
Thank you. Juan.
Councilmember, you will be able to unmute yourself, Councilmember Juan.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Carr.
Just out of an abundance of caution in the expense budget modification, we're changing funding for CUNY, and my partner is a student at CUNY, and I vote aye on all.
Thank you. Powers.
Aye, thanks.
Thank you. With a vote of 17 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and no abstentions, all items are adopted. With preconsidered M in relation to MN5 is adopted by the committee with a vote of 16 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative, and 0 abstentions. Mr. Chair, that is a full committee. You can close at your convenience.
Thank you. Thank you all. This meeting is adjourned.